Halo, one of the most influential shooters ever, arguably the biggest shooter series ever, Microsoft's flagship series and really the face of Xbox. And while it isn't as big as it once was, Halo is still as recognizable of a name in gaming as Call of Duty and Mario at this point. It's synonymous with gaming. But you already know this about Halo. I mean, it is Halo. Now, thanks to the Master Chief Collection, I recently played through all the campaigns of the main games and Halo 5. And instead of reviewing all of them or something along those lines, I thought a top 7 would be fun to do. So I'm going to rank them, ranking all the campaigns of the main Halo games. Now, I'm sure a topic like this could get really heated in the comments, but just remember, this is my list, and well, if you're going to put something hateful in the comments, you might as well do it now and leave. Also, don't forget to subscribe, Patreon, comment, like, whatever. But yeah, see you later then. So, let's kick it off with what I think has the worst Halo campaign.
Master Chief, you mind telling me what you're doing on that snowboard?
Sir, shredding this no.
Halo 5. I mean, is it really that surprising? Halo 5 in terms of the campaign is honestly a shallow, mediocre experience that really fails to change up the formula for the better and provides just an incredibly forgettable experience, and ultimately was not that fun. The campaign is decently length but feels incredibly bloated due to the amount of repetition that the game follows, including the same boss fight over and over and a really lacking story. Like, the story is beyond disappointing compared to the trailers we got, and then just wasn't very good to begin with. The entire Chief's Gone Rogue thing has never sat well with me, and I still don't like it. I don't like Locke. A majority of the game is Locke. Some of the missions are like 5 minutes for some reason, and the game just wasn't very memorable at all, especially when compared to the other Halo campaigns.
Master Chief, you mind telling me what you're doing in that Snuggie? Sir, going blanky mode.
I wasn't sure whether or not to include this as a main Halo campaign, but I figured it was worth including, and that is Halo 3 ODST. While not the worst Halo campaign, I also thought that this game's campaign was quite weak. Not bad, just weak. You don't play as Chief or Spartan at all, you play as an ODST, and while their armor is really cool and the way they drop down to the ground is really cool, this game's campaign just really didn't click with me. I wasn't a huge fan of it. It's only like 3, maybe 4 hours long, and it just felt kind of shallow. I wasn't big on most of the missions. I didn't really like the level design. It's just kind of open-ended and allows you to go everywhere, and it just honestly felt kind of sloppy, like a fake open world. I wasn't big on the atmosphere or darkness this game has. It's really, really dark, and I know some people really love that atmosphere that ODST provides with this dark stuff, but yeah, no, that's just not me. So the storyline I wasn't big on, the levels, and the weapons were alright. They just didn't feel as great as the previous ones, and overall, I just didn't really find it that memorable of an experience. I thought it was just alright at best, and honestly, the best thing that ODST has going for it is the music. I thought the music was really solid in this game, and is my favorite thing about the game. ODST, again, not a bad game, just not really my cup of tea.
Master Chief, you mind telling me the source? Sir, reddit.com.
At number 5 is Halo 4, the first mainline Halo game not developed by Bungie, and while it's not a bad game, it certainly was not as good as the previous Halo games, minus ODST, taking the story past Halo 3's great ending and really just progressing it to a way that I wasn't really big on, with Cortana being kind of corrupted. I mean, the story, I could kind of take it or leave it by this point. It didn't really matter with me. The gameplay was still pretty fun. I thought the weapons felt great. They added a bunch of new ones that I thought not only were visually very cool, but were pretty fun to use, and engaging in the enemies I thought was also really fun. It's just that most of the levels in this game were not very memorable. There wasn't much to them, I thought, and I thought some of the encounters just got kinda samey. I wasn't the biggest fan of this one, but I still had a fun time. While it certainly could have been better, I didn't think it was the worst Halo experience like some people made it out to be. And running in Halo has never really been that big of a deal to me, so I still had a fun time with it, but nothing spectacular here. At number 4 we have Halo Reach. Now, if this was ranking the multiplayer, I can say Halo Reach would probably be at the top of my list, especially when it comes to that Forge. That's a real fun one. But strictly talking campaign here, Halo Reach is number 4. And while I think it is quite good, I don't think it's absolutely amazing. The best part of the campaign, I can confidently say, is the story, as I think the story and its characters are quite good, and the game is a really powerful ending. Maybe the most powerful ending of all the Halo campaigns, honestly. It's just when it came to the missions and some of the level design, it just didn't really sit with me all that well, and I thought it was just alright for the most part. It wasn't like mind-blowing, and some of the set pieces I didn't think were as amazing as, say, Halo 2 or 3 or 1, but I still quite liked it, and I did like the weapon variety in the game as well. I thought the shooting was really solid. But, yep, that's number 4, Halo Reach.
Master Chief, you mind telling me why you're hurry?
Sir, where you go?
At number 3 we have the original Halo, Halo Combat Evolved. Now, while I did used to think that this was the be-all end-all of Halo games, it was only after recently playing it that I really discovered that I don't think it's the be-all end-all of Halo games or shooters in general. And while I understand what it obviously did for shooters and the impact it had on just gaming in general, I think that some of the levels have aged particularly poorly. And don't get me wrong, the shooting is still great, the AI is arguably the best in the series, and the levels that are good in this game are really good and are extremely memorable. It's just, for every 1 or 2 good levels, there's a level that really isn't that great in this game. Particularly, any level with the Flood is just terrible. A majority of the levels in the second half of the game just aren't very good, actually. And then all I gotta say is the library. Like, I don't even have to tell you any more about just the library. But in general, I still think Halo 1 is a blast. It still has really fun weapons and is great fun in co-op all these years later. And could really never get old for me. It's not the ultimate greatest Halo game, I think, anymore, and I think it's just good.
Mr. Chief, you mind telling me what you're doing in Fortnite? Sir, getting this epic victory royale.
Halo 3. Now, Halo 3 is when the series was really just firing on all cylinders, and I think it's just a stellar campaign, taking maybe the longest of all the Halo campaigns. It was just a really fun time, with a excellent story and a wonderful conclusion, like a great conclusion to the Halo trilogy. I think that it was a great time. And I think that fighting the enemies was, again, very engaging. The AI is smart as hell, quick as a whip, and I think that the gunplay was also superb, and again, arguably the best in the series, and playing in co-op is great fun. The set pieces are extremely memorable, and the game is just rock solid. Like, there's nothing else I can say other than the game is beyond rock solid, and if you have not played Halo 3 and consider yourself a Halo fan, I really question what you're doing. I really do. As great as Halo 3 is, though, in my opinion, it's only the second best. But what is the best one? It's pretty freaking obvious now.
Mr. Chief, you mind telling me what you're doing on that ship?
Sir, finishing this fight.
Yeah, at number 1 is Halo 2. I think Halo 2 is the best Halo game and is one of the best first-person shooters and obviously the top ranked on this list. I think Halo 2 is just a fantastic game all around with a great length to its campaign, but most importantly, every mission is wonderful. I truly thought every single mission in Halo 2 was excellent. The set pieces are easily the best in the series, like when you're driving down the bridge or when you're driving up the beach in the Warthog. No, it's the best in my opinion. I thought the story was, again, really well done. Like, they took the nice little lore and simple story of Combat Evolved and just blew it up and made it expansive, immersive. The introduction of Arbiter was great. Playing as Arbiter is great. I really like the story. I really like the levels. I love fighting the enemies. The weapon variety and just roster in general is extremely well done. And Halo 2 is just one of the finest first-person shooters of them all. And while we might disagree between what the best one is, I can guarantee that every Halo fan will agree that Halo 2 is still a fantastic game, has aged wonderfully, and is great fun, especially in co-op. What a great game. And I'm so glad that I was finally able to play it after all these years. Like, I really just never played through it until recently and was just like, blown away with how good it is. Amazing shooter. Alright guys, so that's it with this video. I really hope you enjoyed. I can't wait to see some of the comments telling me I'm wrong on where I place certain Halos or how I don't know anything about the series. But I will say I am a bit of a casual Halo fan. Like, I'm not massive on it, if that wasn't clear by now. Either way, I just wanted you guys to enjoy the video. So have a great day, year, whatever it is. If you haven't subscribed, I really would love it if you did. That would be amazing. Commenting, sharing with your friends, Patreon's there if you really love me or whatever. Have a great day.